Good evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are in the world. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you can all hear me. If you can hear me and you're on the webinar or you're on YouTube, please give me a thumbs up. Please give me a wave. Please just give me something. I see a wave there. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. I also want to make sure that the chat window is open and working, because the last call that I had, I was told that the chat window was not working. So I want to make sure the chat is available. So let me just make sure that you all have access to the chat in case. Could somebody try and send through a hi and make sure that's all okay? If it's not, then I will make sure that the chat is available for people to. Could you check if the Q&A window, you can probably put something in the Q&A window. I want to make sure that everybody can hear me okay. Okay, right. This now should work. Right, if you can go to the chat, webinar chat, and just put a hi in there so I make sure that people are here and you can hear me okay. Or if you're on YouTube, just send me a wave or a hi so that I know that you are here and you can hear me, and the chat is enabled in case of any questions. That's key, because I know people might want to ask some questions throughout today's webinar. So please, 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 if you're on the line right now, please send me a hi or something on the chat to make sure that we can see you, I can hear you. Okay, there's something that's come through. Thank you so much for confirming that I'm audible. If you've got any questions, it's working in the Q&A. The chat window should also be working as well. So thank you so much. I'm glad you can all hear me. And I'm so happy that you guys have all joined. You've probably seen some of my posts on social media, or you came across this through my mailing list as well. And this session today is all about helping people that are looking to purchase property in Ghana, but specifically at this time right now, because a lot of people are traveling to Ghana. And I really want to be able to give you some tips that are going to help you to maximize your time in Ghana this year. Now, if you're not going to Ghana, don't worry, you can still use the information. But I decided, look, this is the prime time for Ghana's real estate market. It's also the prime time for the tourist market, right? And it's amazing. If you add those two things together, you've got an amazing baby, right? So it made sense to have this masterclass during this time to really prep and prepare people to think about what they could do whilst in Ghana, but also start to think ahead and think about 2025, right? What can you do in 2025 to kickstart your property real estate journey in Ghana, right? If you guys have just joined me on YouTube, on the live stream, or whether you just joined me here, we've just kicked off. I'm about to share my screen and hope you can all see it. Right, give me a thumbs up if you're here on the line. You can see my screen, it's sharing okay. You can see me and you can see the screen as well. Please just give me something. I'm interactive. I want to make sure that people are here. You can hear me, everything is okay, right? So please give me a sign if you can see my screen. I really want to make sure that you can see the screen, you can see the first slide. If you can't, also give me some feedback. I really want to make sure that you guys are here, you're with me. Just give me a thumbs up, a wave. I want to make sure that you guys are there. You're there. Okay, great. I'm brilliant. I believe that you guys can see the screen. So let's kick off, right? If you can't hear me throughout, if there's something wrong and you need me to repeat something, please do let me know. I'm about being interactive and making sure that you get your answers in this session today. If you don't, then obviously feel free to message me in the background or contact me, and it'll be great. My pleasure, in fact, to help to give you the information that you need to kickstart your journey. So let's get straight into it, guys. Right, first and foremost, who is going to Ghana for Christmas? If you're on the line, if you're on YouTube, if you're on the webinar, please give me some feedback. If you're going to Ghana this year, please give me a thumbs up, a wave, whatever reaction you can reach. The quickest thing you can do, just give me a wave or something. If you're heading to Ghana this year for Christmas, or you're already in Ghana, please give me a wave. I want to know who's going, who's doing Dirty December, who's going to be enjoying the Christmas period in Ghana. I see some waves. I see some waves. I see some love hearts. I see some waves. Okay, great. I'm glad. Right, if you're not, don't worry. If you're already there, enjoy. If you are going, even better. And if you're going to be going in the future, or you're just here just to start to think about it, then no worries at all. Hopefully, these intro steps, I'll call this, will very much give you something to think about to kickstart your journey, right? So who am I? For those of you that don't know, right, I am Lorraine, right? I'm going to be looking up here because I've got a second screen up here, but I am a Ghana real estate educator and coach. So I'm all about educating my community and the community at large about how to purchase property. And I use a lot of my own personal experience because I've been in the market. I've been doing this for years now, right? I'm a British born Ghanaian. I am between the UK and I'm between Ghana as well. I'm the founder of a boutique consultancy company called Diaspora to Home. And that's my platform that I use to actually share widely the information about how to purchase property in Ghana and how to generate rental returns from it, right? I've been traveling and generating income from investments in Ghana for over 10 years now, right? The times when I was going to Ghana with my family, my friends, started back in 2020, 2012, you know? When I was going, I was exploring what's happening in Ghana. And I've done everything from Uber car businesses, Uber fleet businesses, to running a nail salon, to agri-tech startups, to property, right? So I do have a lot of experience in Ghana's market investment landscape, and I'm all about educating the diaspora around how they can actually get involved in business and investments in Ghana, right? My disclaimer, very, very important disclaimer, 2 disclaimers for this call. Number 1, this is not financial advice, so it should not be considered financial advice, but for information and guidance only. Number 2, right? I primarily focus on Accra and the surrounding areas. So if you're here to find out about Tamale, Ogadanga, other areas, I might not be able to give you that information, but my experience is primarily focused on Accra, Abri, Pram Pram, Cape Coast, those kind of areas, right? So if I do refer to Ghana, please do forgive me. I am referring to those particular areas. I do know Ghana is a lot more wider and broader than those cities and areas that I refer to. But I'm only speaking about my experience. That's the reason why I want to be very clear on that disclaimer. Were you still with me? Is everybody still with me? I think, and I hope you're still with me. Right. So Diaspora to Home. If you haven't done so already, please do check out my website. It's diasporatohome.com. Pretty simple to remember. Head over to the website. On my website, you will see, right, a property listing site. If you're looking to purchase property, you go and check out the site there. You'll see there's over 10,000 properties across Ghana and West Africa on my platform. So you can literally go and check out the various properties that are available for sale. But also there's other resources, guides, toolkits, education there to help you, because it's not about just diving deep and finding a property. Ghana is not like how you'll probably go and buy a property in the UK. You just find something on Zoopla and you go. No, there's a lot more to it. And I'm here about educating. I'm here to educate you all about that, right? Because there's a lot of ins and outs in Ghana's real estate market. So why do I do what I do, right? There's 4 main reasons. The first reason is 2.5 million. Does anybody know what 2.5 million represents? Does anybody know what 2.5 million represents? You can put it in the chat if the chat window is open, or you can put it in the Q&A, or if you're on YouTube, feel free to put it on the chat window, the live chat on YouTube. I just want to know, does anybody know what 2.5 million represents? Let me know. This needs to be interactive, guys. I really want to make sure that you guys are here. You can see me, you can hear me, and you're also hopefully going to be enjoying what we're going to be speaking about, right? Let's learn together. 2.5 million is all about the deficit that exists in Ghana right now. There's a 2.5 million deficit when it comes to the housing market. And I'm all about educating people so we can actually plug this gap together. The second reason is generational wealth, right? It's much more than just generating money, right? It's about wealth. It's about long-term investment, what your children's children are going to have, what your legacy is going to be, and how you can actually build that in your motherland or country that you identify with, right? Number 3, higher yields and a lower cost of entry. Now, if you compare it net, if you guys are on the line, you might be in the US. I saw some registrations from people that are in the US, people that are in the UK, people that might be in Australia. I have people that dial in from Germany, people in Australia, I've mentioned that, people in the Netherlands, etc. These tend to be the people where the pockets of the diaspora community tend to be, right? And individuals might be, think about the cities that we all live in. And you think about the capital city, right? And you then think about the center of your capital city, right? Now you think about how much it costs you to get a property in those locations. I'm going to use the UK, for example. Capital city of the UK is London. The center of London is Westminster, right? or the City of London, in those locations, in those boroughs is what we call it. If you were to purchase a 1-bedroom property in those locations, you will not be spending anything less than 400,000, 500,000 at the very least for a 1-bedroom property in the center of these cities. Okay. Now, if you were to go to the center of Accra, we are talking about Laboni, Osu, Cantonments, Airport Residential. Now, if you're going to purchase a 1-bedroom property in those locations, you can purchase a 1-bedroom property in those locations for about $100,000. That's, you know, a quarter of the price less than you get in it in London, right? Now, you're probably thinking, yeah, fine, but it's a developing country. I get it, right? Now, if you want to think about yield, you want to think about how much money you can actually generate, right, for what you've put in, the ROI, the return on investment. In those locations, when it comes to Accra, Cantonments, Osu, Laboni, Airport Residential, these locations where you tend to find a lot of expats gravitating to, and therefore the short-term market tends to be quite buoyant, right? These locations where you can actually get rental yields of over 10 to 12%. In the capital of London or the center of London, your rental yields are typically around 6 to 8%, right? So you're generating far higher yields in the center of Accra than you are in places like London. I'm giving you that as an example. Excuse me. My fourth a little bit of a cough there, excuse me. Right. My fourth reason, I don't want other people to make the same mistakes, right? So one of the reasons why I do this is exactly that. I've been through this market. I have, as I explained to you, I've been doing this for 10 years and I don't want other people to make the same mistake. Okay. So that's the reason why I do what I do. Excuse me. Wow. Right. So why December in Ghana is super, super important and the perfect time for you to get started in this market. The first thing, December in Ghana is the busiest time for tourism. And that's why I asked everybody right at the beginning, who of you are in Ghana right now? How many of you are heading to Ghana, coming to Ghana? Where are you at, right? Because majority of people travel to Ghana during December. Last year alone, over 1.3 million people traveled to Ghana, right? And December tends to be the peak time. There are three main peak times in Ghana, right? First is December to January, your Christmas period. The second time is Easter, right? That's almost like the mini Dirty December, right? The more calmer one, right? And then the third time is then your summer holiday, your summer vacation, where you tend to find families going over with their kids for the 6-week holiday. I remember that time my family would just pack me up and we will head over to Ghana for 6 weeks and I'll be put in school. Oh my gosh, those times have changed. Right. These are the busiest times in Ghana, right? For tourism. The second reason is a chance to personally visit properties and meet developers one-to-one and explore the opportunities that exist there as well, right? The third reason is the festive season drives peak rental income potential, right? So these are times where, especially because it is peak season, you can increase your price small, okay? And it's not that expected, not that we like it, right? If you're on the other side. But if you're on the supplier side, you can increase your price and you're going to get demand, okay? Because supply and demand, we know what happens with demand and supply. The prices go up, right? Then you start, in terms of why December in Ghana is important, right? Because you can now start to build your momentum for 2025. A number of you are going to have goals for next year. Let one of those be considering and thinking about investing in Ghana's real estate market, right? So what I'm going to cover today, right? This call is not going to be very long, but it's going to give you a taster for 5 things that you need to think about to kickstart your property journey in Ghana. We're going to be going through these things, understanding why Ghana's property market is thriving and how you can benefit, discovering these 5 essential steps, which I've just mentioned, right, to prepare for your property investment journey. Thinking very high level about some of the key neighborhoods that are offering you strong rental returns and resale value, right? Learning the top mistakes. I'm going to be speaking about my own personal experience and just sprinkling some information to you so you actually understand some of the things and some of the challenges. I'm all about being very transparent, right? There are highs, but there are also some challenges that you need to be aware of, right? The downsides of investing in property. I will not be doing you service or be doing you a disservice rather if I didn't tell you that there are challenges that you need to know, and it's better you understand those challenges and you're able to actually overcome them and learn the strategies to overcome them, right? And then number 5, the most important part is how you can access certain tools and resources to start to invest in Ghana's real estate market and start to streamline your property journey, right? Now, before I go ahead, please scan this QR code at the bottom right-hand side of the screen, and you will get access to my free guide, which goes into what I'm talking about in much more depth, right? It expands on some of the topics. I want to keep this call very short, punchy, to the point, right? But if you want to get a more elaborated version of what I'm going to speak about, then please do download the free guide, and you'll be able to access more in-depth information about Ghana's real estate market and the steps that you need to do to kickstart your property journey, right? So, number 1, as I said, the opportunity in Ghana's real estate market, right? Appreciating values. Property prices in Accra's hotspot. And bear in mind, remember, I've mentioned to you that I'm focusing mainly on Accra and those areas. Now, if you look at Accra, right, over the last 10 years or so, there has been a 400% growth in terms of capital appreciation, that is, by the way. But year on year, we have seen over 15% annually in some core areas, okay? Now, as I've mentioned to you, there's a 2.5 million housing deficit, which is driving demand in certain areas. And then you've got the year of return effect. Thumbs up if anybody went for the year of return to Ghana. Please give me a wave. Give me a wave if you were there for December, January period for the year of return. I was there, and I remember when the onset of COVID came, and everybody was looking at each other, you're coughing, but we didn't know quite what was going on at that point, right? We were like, this must be the Ghana flu, or I don't know. They called it Hamatan. I don't know. So I was there. We had no idea what was going on. We were all in the various places. I won't name where they were. And yeah, everybody was coughing and sneezing on one another. And we had a great time. And then we had COVID. I ended up personally staying in Ghana throughout COVID period. I was there right from 2019 straight to 2022. So experiencing the Ghana version of lockdown, which was just basically 3 weeks in your house and the rest of it was out. Anyway, right. So the year of return effect really did encourage a lot of diasporan communities to head over to Ghana. And I remember I have a shop in Ghana, and I had a lot of the diasporan community come by and feel like they found out that they're with their ancestry, like it wasn't even diasporans who knew about their lineage and the fact that they were connected to Ghana, but rather African Americans who were just now discovering that they had some ancestry and they had connections to Ghana, and they were coming in their numbers to Ghana. And we've seen that exponential growth since 2019, and that is driving demand in the property real estate market. So I was on a call just last week, I believe, and I was invited to speak on a panel. And on this panel was also the Africa Airbnb manager, right? So he was responsible for Africa. And he came to give some amazing statistics that really hammers home all the things I've been speaking about on my platforms. People thought I was lying, but he came and we heard it straight from the horse's mouth, right? He came and explained. That is him in the corner. You can see him right there, right? I did a screenshot. And basically, you see that there was an increased interest of travelers for Ghana. 30%. There was a 30% increase in, I believe these numbers are from 2023 or 2024. I can't remember, but it's pretty recent. Let's just say it's pretty recent in the last 2 years. And there's been an increase of 30% in terms of interest in Ghana, right? And if you look at our neighboring countries, we look at Nigeria and Liberia, we are well ahead of them, right? So a lot of interest in Ghana in terms of traveling to Ghana from the diaspora community and those people around, right? And what that's now driving is therefore a direct increase in bookings on Airbnb's platform, right? So you can see in Nigeria, there's been an increase of 8%. In Liberia, there's been an increase of 16%. And in Ghana, there's been an increase of 41%. The numbers speak for itself. So if you were to invest in Ghana's real estate market, right, with a demand of 41% of increase in bookings coming on Airbnb's website, you now have a demand, right, for your product, essentially, what you have on the market. And now Airbnb doesn't match it, right? There's a lot more information that was received from Airbnb. I'll be putting out some more YouTube videos and more content around this, so please do stay tuned. And if you want to, please do download my book about how to maximize your Airbnb rentals if you're interested in that as well. I'll show you a quick QR code for that shortly. Now, let's just speak very high level, right? Some people want to know about the numbers. What do the numbers look like? So if you are going to purchase a property, anybody knows, so if you're on the line, right, I see there's some, we're still on the line, we're still here. I'm glad you guys are still engaged, right? If you're here on the webinar, if you're still here on Zoom, and you're also here on YouTube, give me a thumbs up if you heard of the area cantonments. Put your hand up, give me a thumbs up, give me a wave, give me a thumbs up, give me anything. If you're there on YouTube, if you're there on Zoom, please do give me some. I want to make sure that this is interactive, as I keep saying. Please give me some feedback. Let me know if you've heard of the area cantonments in Ghana, in Accra. Okay, yep, a couple coming through, Please, 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 just feedback to me. I want to make sure I'm not speaking to myself here, guys. Feedback to me, give me a thumbs up, give me a wave. I know in Zoom it's probably easier just to give you a reaction with a whatever that sign is. Is it a wave? Is it a hands up? Whatever it may be, right? Okay, so in cantonments, right, you can potentially purchase a property for $150,000, if not less, right? 1-bedroom property. And if you remember, I spoke at the beginning, I was comparing it to the capital city of London, well, the center of London, right? The center of Greater London, right? Westminster, City of London. These areas tend to be quite affluent, right? Now, so when I think about it, and comparably to somewhere like Ghana, it is a kind of place like cantonments or Sue, Labone. These kind of areas are what you will kind of see as being the center of the center. In these locations, you tend to find the affluent community. You tend to find the embassies, the businesses, the restaurants, the bars, the plush bar, those kind of areas, right? Exist in locations like that. So if you're a lot of the expat community tend to gravitate to these locations, right? And you can potentially get a 1-bedroom property, if not less, off plan for $150,000. Now, I like to do the numbers conservatively. Now, when you are thinking about budgeting, always consider the fact that there could be some time where the property is vacant, right? So if you're going to do your numbers, always factor in some vacancy costs. So if you look at occupancy rate of about 65% average occupancy over a period of a year, now you look at an average rate of $120 per night. Now, on the call that we was with the Airbnb manager, he said that the average price for property in Ghana, this is average, right, on Airbnb's platform is $75. Now, when you look at central locations like cantonments, you're going for $100, $150 at times, right, for 1-bedroom property per night. Depends on how furnished it is, depending on where it is, etc. Right? So now if we take an assumption that this property is $120 per night, now you look at your average income, a monthly income of $120 per night, multiply that by 20 nights, you get an income of $2,400. Now, if you look at your annual income, that's just under $29,000. You're going to factor in some costs like expenses, your utility costs, maintenance costs, service charges, etc. Deduct about $6,000 from that, and now you're left with a net income of about $22,800 per year. Now, if you look at that, that yield is approximately 15%. As I mentioned to you, if you look at the capital city of the UK, for example, London, your average yields are about 6 to 8%, nowhere near 15%. So if you look at that net comparably, right, you can see where the yield differences are there. So why am I so big on Airbnb? It's because of these facts that the Airbnb African manager said with his own mouth. Now, these are just a few of my listings on Airbnb's platforms. I've got other things existing on other platforms. I share the other platforms I'm on if you come and join my program. But this is just a very high level view of some of the properties that I have listed. And the good thing about Airbnb is it really does it's flexible, right? And a lot of the tourists that are coming into Ghana use Airbnb as their primary choice, especially in locations like East Legon or Sue, etc. And these are areas where there is a high demand, and Airbnb hosts can actually start to fill these gaps. Okay, so number one, when it comes to you looking to invest in real estate market in Ghana, especially if you're heading to Ghana for the December in Ghana period, there's some things that I want you to do. So please get ready to write these things down. Number one, know where to look and know what to look for. Okay. First thing, you want to focus on high demand areas. Now, this strategy might not work for everybody. It might not work for everybody. There's never a one size fits all, because if I was to sit down with you and speak about your entire portfolio and think about how you personally want to build your portfolio or want to start to invest in Ghana, I will start to ask you what your investment strategy is. That will be your first point of call, because your investment strategy might be slightly different, which means that you might not be focused on these certain high demand areas. Your investment strategy might be building out accommodation for hospital workers. So your revenue stream will be in a completely different area. Your strategy might be building something for long-term renters, right? So you might be building something for families. So again, your model might be different. But right now, I'm talking about a particular market which is more dominated by the expat market right now. So I want to be really, really clear on this. Okay, so it's not a one size fits all, but this is typically the short-term market where the expats gravitate towards. That is the focus of today's session, right? So focus on high-demand areas like East Legon, Cantonments, Spintex, Airport Residential, Airport City. These areas are consistently strong in terms of property demand from the expat market. There are also emerging opportunities. So a lot of expats tend to come, and they come in with family, or they're digital nomads, or they are looking to relocate. They tend to know of areas like Achimota, Pram Pram, Oyarifa, Adenta, Abri, East Legon Hills, Chado. A lot of these kind of areas are areas that you tend to find that expats with families or locals with families, middle income people with families tend to gravitate towards. These are locations which are emerging. Okay, they are emerging, they are up and coming areas, right? Because there's now a lot of infrastructure development in those spaces. Then you want to start to think about property types. You can compare off-plan. Off-plan is basically where you are buying something pre-construction. So you'll see a plan, you see the 3D drawings, you maybe see where it's located, you know the developer as well. This is important. And I go into this in more details with some of the other sessions that I run, right, in terms of how you to vet these developers. But essentially, these are properties that are built pre-construction, or you can buy them pre-construction. Therefore, you can actually acquire the capital appreciation a lot faster, right? Or you can go for a completed house. You see it, you like it, you buy it, okay? That can match your investment goal if you wanted to. Then you might want to also consider and think about market trends. So analyze the rental income potential, the property appreciation price impact as well, right? And also ongoing development. So recently in Ghana, in Accra, there was a big news story about the fact that there was a launch of Flower Pot Junction. This is the interchange between Spintex, East Legon, the new Mahama Road. So this place made it a lot more easier for people to kind of, you know what I mean, okay? Commute is the word I'm looking for. So that is the reason why it's important to know about some of these up and coming developments, because that way, if you're going to invest in Ghana's real estate market, right, you start to understand where are some of the hot spots. Somebody used to say, if you start to see a petrol station being built, if you're in Ghana, you'll know a petrol station is a filling station. If you're in the US, you'll know it's a fuel station, gas station, right? Petrol station, wherever they sell diesel, whatever your country calls it, okay? If you were to see some of these pop up in locations in Accra, they know something that you don't know. That is going to be an area where potentially you'll start to see influx of other things. So bear that in mind. Next, right? Who to target? You might want to target diaspora and travelers. You might want to target tourists. You might want to target expats and professionals. A lot of professionals are gravitating towards Accra. A lot of companies are actually renting out apartments on behalf of their workers as well. So that is a market in itself. Right. You can take a screenshot of this. Please quote me when you do it. Actually, I'm going to smile for a minute. I would love it if you guys just do a quick screenshot, post it on social media, go into my Instagram, go over to my TikTok. Just give us a little tag, please. Let the community know what's going on. Screenshot me right now. And then tag me on social media at Lorraine H. Wright to let people know that you're on today's call. I'll really appreciate it if you can please do it. Get the word out there. If you're on YouTube, please already subscribe to my channel as well. Please, yeah, please, again, I'm going to do another post until you guys have screenshot. Give me a screenshot, tag me on social media as well on all platforms, Lorraine H. Wright. And also write a comment. Let me know how you're finding today's session as well. Let me know if you're getting some valuable information. I'll really, really appreciate it, so that I actually have the energy to keep going and keep doing what I do, right? So I feel like I'm giving some valuable content. I hope I am. Do you guys agree? I hope I'm giving some good information. Please, if it's not good information, you obviously wouldn't be on the call. But also, it'll be great if everybody in the community knows about this stuff as well. I've left this slide on for far too long to give you guys information. But anyway, prime locations in Accra, again, as I mentioned to you, right? Prime location for somebody might not be the same for somebody else. A prime location could be for somebody, as I said, something around a university. You could potentially be building hostels in Miocho around Pram area, Central University. You might want to potentially build hostels around Valley View University for students. You might want to be building accommodation for health workers. You might want to be building something around like different hospitals, for example, right? So you want to think about what your prime location is, because prime location for one person might not be prime location for somebody else. So bear that in mind. But again, if I'm going to speak more generally, these locations, Jolu, Laboni, or Osu, Cantonments, East Legon, Adringon, or Trasaka, Airport Residential, Airport City, the list goes on, right? Chado, which is on the right-hand side, the one that's spelled Tseaddo, Chado, is, I know the pronunciation doesn't quite match up to how it's said, but how it's written, that is now kind of gravitating towards prime locations, right? But typically what tends to happen is in those locations, studios and one bedroom apartments tend to do really, really well. But in emerging locations like Pokwase, Chado, East Legon Hills, Abri, Ayirens, Oyarifa, Pram, Kaswa, Tema, Spintex, those locations, you tend to find that they're quite good for families, for 2 to 3 bedroom plus, right? So they tend to do well in those locations. So if you're thinking about investing, think about this kind of strategy: 1 to 2 beds, sorry, studios to 1 bed, East Legon, Osu, Cantonments, Laboni, 2 to 3 beds in other growing emerging locations. I hope that makes sense, right? I hope you guys are still with me. Please give me a thumbs up, hands up. Let me know you guys are still with me. I'm giving you guys information for free, guys. So please, at least for free, give me a wave back. Let me know that you guys are here, right? If you're on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe as well. Please do that and hit the notification bell. But anyway, guys, so thank you for giving me that feedback. I appreciate it. Thank you guys. That's what I like. Number 2, maximizing your time in Ghana. So if you guys are in Ghana for the December period, or you're watching this on YouTube later on, or you are just interested in what's going on, right? Just maximize your time if you're going to be in Ghana, or you want to figure out how you can actually leverage your time when you go there in the future. Think about planning in advance, right? Potentially book viewings before you go. Now, this is one of the services I run, I offer. And if you go to my Instagram page, you will see where I had a client recently, and she was going to look for land, and I actually scheduled her entire schedule to actually book land tours. So literally from the moment she wakes up, she said, these are the days I'm free. So her schedule was basically back to back booked out, right? So she'll receive a call in the morning, ready to go, and she heads off to that location. She meets the right person, she comes back home. Then she can make her own informed decision of where she wants to invest in. That's a more hands-off approach where I just schedule the viewings for you, right? But if you want a more detailed, in-depth coaching, etc., that offer is there for you too. Now, you can also use trusted agents. So please use reputable agents or opt in for my done for you service. As I said, I can give you the full package, which is all about hand holding you through. So you go to a viewing, you maybe feedback to me, let me know your thoughts. We can discuss and confer. If you just want the viewing service, that option is there for you too, right? But when you head over to do these viewings, please write these things down and bear this in mind. I do have a checklist guide as well. If you want to see all the things that you want to check when you go over to a viewing, then please do reach out to me for that. But assess structural conditions, including roofing, plumbing, electrical systems. There's many more things you want to bear in mind as well when you're going for viewings. Consider different things when it comes to location. I'm a big believer, when you go to check out a property, go 3 times. First time in the daytime, the second time when it's raining, the third time when it's dark at night. Okay, the daytime one, check it during peak time. What's the traffic conditions like? The second one, when it's raining, you want to see if there's going to be any waterlogging in that area. When it's raining, what does the roads look like? Is there any leakages if you're buying the completed property? The third thing, at nighttime, is it safe in that area? Are there lights in that area? I remember buying a property. I've been through it. I bought a property in a gated community, and in that gated community, I didn't deep it because I went to go and view the property during the daytime. At nighttime, there was no communal lighting. There was no communal, the lighting that we were using was from other people's houses. If their window was open, you're receiving that light. Okay? But if you enter into the gate, there was no communal lighting. Can you imagine? So these are things that you don't even think about until somebody shows you. And that's why I do what I do. And I'm so passionate about what I do because I've been through this. And I have the checklist of the things that I missed out so that you don't have to miss out on these things. Okay? It's so simple to think. You wouldn't in the daytime think about it. You guys are going to do this tomorrow. Go outside. You wouldn't think about light when you're outside. But at night you would. So that's why it's important when you go and check out a property, go and check it out at the nighttime. Because there are things you're going to see then that you wouldn't have spotted during the daytime. Also, verified documentation. So things like title deeds, permits, land registry, things like that. There's a lot more that you need to check when it comes to that because not everybody who is selling the property has the right to sell you that property. Did you get that? Let me repeat that one more time. Not everybody who is selling you a property has the right to sell you that property. That's deep, isn't it? I like that. But it's important to make sure you understand that in Ghana, the market is like this. It's unfortunate. Okay. People can be selling you something and then sold it twice, 3 times, 4 times over. Okay. So bear that in mind. Next, number 3, financing. When it comes to financing, you want to think about the way you're going to actually purchase the property. You can use what's called a diaspora mortgage. So in Ghana, mortgages are available to the diaspora community. Now, if you want to find out more, I do have an entire ebook on this that gives you the whole lowdown around it, right? But it's tailored for non-resident Ghanaians. So if you have parentage, heritage, or citizenship for Ghana, you can be entitled to a diaspora mortgage, okay? So it allows you to actually purchase that property in Ghana, but you would require about 20 to 30% deposit in order for you to actually start to purchase that property. Next, you can use what's called a payment plan. So most developers in Ghana, if you're buying a new property, will give you a time period in which you can pay for that property in installments over a given period of time, especially when it's off plan. If the property is off plan, you can use the duration in which the property is being constructed to actually pay down the value of the property. So they mostly would give you an interest-free period of 12, 24 months, however long it will take for the property to be built, and you can then purchase a property in installments, right? The next one is rent to own. Not many people are doing this, but a lot of developers are now catching on to this. Now, what this means is that you can typically pay 50%, and then you can then rent out the property to other tenants, right? And they can then use that income from the rent to then pay down the value of the property. So it's almost like in the UK, we kind of almost call it like shared ownership in a way, that you're almost owning it over a period of time. But this one is slightly different where you get in tenants, so you can't actually stay in the property, but you can get in tenants and they will then pay the fee. Or some developers might allow you to actually move in from the 50% mark and then pay down the remaining. There is one developer in the Wager area called Eden Heights. I have a video on my YouTube channel, so please do go and check that out. And they do exactly that. You can pay 50% and then you can move in, you get the keys, and you can pay down the rest over a period of time. And typically they give you like 5 years to pay it off. The only thing with that, downside is that your name will not be on the title deeds until you finish paying it off, which kind of makes sense, right? Because they still kind of own part of the property. So bear these things in mind when it comes to you trying to finance your property. As I said, I've got more guides and more information about this if you want to find out more. Number 4, avoiding common mistakes. These are from my heart, my own personal experiences, guys. Skipping due diligence. I've just told you about one of the things that affected me, which was I just went to a property during the daytime and I didn't see any lights in the communal areas until we realized there was no lights. So there's also things like looking at who owns the property, the due diligence, in terms of vetting, getting surveyors in place, getting house inspectors. The list is long, and that is why I have all of my resources available to help you guys with that. Ignoring location factors. So thinking about things that might affect the location. For example, one of the properties I purchased was right by bare land. So what that meant was at the time, when there was some construction going on, you would actually get not rodents, but like snakes. I promise you this. I thought I was investing in an up and coming location, but because the land next to it was bare, it was breeding other things that were coming over to our properties in our brand spanking new development. You wouldn't think about these things, right? You'll think that, oh, I've got a new development, but you wouldn't think about the fact that my back garden was adjacent, or like literally the wall was the next compound, huge compound was bare. But obviously it was breeding stuff. I have no idea what, but how does that, now I have to be the one that does my fumigation. Do you see, these are things you wouldn't even think about. Location factors. Are you buying around schools because you want to rent out to people that have families? How far are you from neighboring schools? What about things like traffic conditions? These are important things for you to think about when it comes to investing. Also, underestimating costs. A lot of people just think, this is my budget for the property and that's it. There are so many other costs you need to factor in as well. I do have a budget calculator available for people who are interested that helps you to actually start to factor in the other costs that you need to think about. Stamp duties, property rates, taxes, the list goes on. Overlooking utilities and infrastructure, right? In Ghana, we are, I was gonna say privileged, but yeah, lights and electricity, one of two things we call it, used interchangeably. So if I say light off, it's basically dumso, we call it in Ghana. It's basically the electricity is off the grid. So in Ghana, typically once a week, once every 2 weeks at least, the electricity will be off the grid, meaning that you have to provide your own power. So if you don't have a backup power supply, you're going to be in trouble. Another thing is Ghana water. Again, in locations such as East Legon, in fact, get the water off. Let's just call it water off. The water is off the grid of Ghana water. So having a backup water supply like a poly tank or a borehole will help you. Okay. Now that's because there's rationing going on and the lack of some of these resources, or conserving some of these resources, right? Or sometimes it's political. Who knows? But these are important things for you to bear in mind, right? I'm not here to scare you guys. There is a positive, and I've showed you I think I've given you enough positive to realize that these challenges can be overcome. They can, because I've done it. You can ignore, if you're ignoring future development plans, that also is a downside, right, for you. I've just explained one key goal. So rewind this video, go back and see the goal that I gave you about certain infrastructure and things that you want to bear in mind when it comes to you figuring out your plans for where to invest. And then the last thing is not getting support. That's where I went wrong. That's where I lost money. And I don't want you guys to do that, because I didn't get support. I didn't know some of the things I've told you. I'm telling you, these are gold, right? These are things you will not even think about. But I had to learn the hard way. Imagine if you skipped all these things, right? Imagine if you had somebody that handheld you and took you through and gave you that support so you don't have to incur some of these challenges. So finally, where to go when you need that support? Of course, it's me. Of course, right? You have my community that is available for anybody that wants to join. This is the WhatsApp group. In that WhatsApp group, there are experts in there, lawyers. There are lawyers, surveyors, valuers, people that work at Lands Commission. That is probably one of your most important contacts. Lands Commission. It's very important to have somebody that works at Lands Commission. We've got people in the group on there, tax accountants in the group as well, insurance brokers, especially when you're purchasing a property for investment and you're purchasing it to have people that are going to be tenanting it and living in it as tenants. You want to have insurance on your property. So you need to know who are you going to be your insurance brokers, right? To get insurance on that property. There are a number of other important experts in that group. So I highly recommend you join the WhatsApp group, the Diaspora to Home Club and Community. If you need help with financing, if you heard about Diaspora Mortgage and it prickled your ears and you want to hear more about how to get a Diaspora Mortgage, do check out my e-guide. You can scan the QR code there and you can find out more about the Diaspora Mortgage as well. And you're ready to go. You're ready to start your journey. And you want to find out how to budget. And you want to find out the checklist. And you want to find out what already built property versus off-plan property is all about. Or you want to find out about Airbnb and how you can get started in the Airbnb market. I've packaged this all together, and I've got some more in-depth detail around. There's a masterclass in there as well. Basically what I'm giving you today, but in so much more detail, right? You can check out my property success toolkit. Okay, there you'll be able to get all that information in a much more succinct way, that you can work through in your own pace, and you can get more information. Then, as I said, there's a budget calculator. It's an Excel extensive document that you can work through to figure out it's not just the property price, but you put in the property price, it will spin out for you all the other costs you want it to factor in as well. So I really do highly recommend the property success toolkit. Now, if you guys don't want to do it yourself, there is somebody here for you. She is me. But for the next 5 days only, I'm giving you exclusive access to me. So if you are looking for more effective way to kickstart your property journey, you feel like everything I've given you sounds a bit too overwhelming, and you need some support to get started, right? And you can get people, you need somebody who can just show you what are some of the areas to invest in, organize the viewings for you, consult with you, organize a negotiation. Negotiation is so important. Having the professionals as well, right? And think about the strategy. I have my services available for you as well. And I also have an on-demand course, which is a 12-week program about the entire Ghana real estate market and how you can get started, right from searching for property, right to financing, right to interior decorating. It's all in there. Okay, there's only 10 slots available for my done for you service. So please scan the QR code. Normally, this is a $4,999 product, right? My services, you can tell I know what I'm talking about. Okay, so imagine I'm giving you that entire service. That's typically how much it costs. But for you guys on today's call, you're not going to have that price just for today. In fact, just for this week, the next 5 days. Christmas is Christmas. I'm in the mood. Even though you guys weren't giving me enough feedback, I wanted feedback today. Okay. You can get it for $1,999. Okay, that is for my done for you services. Scan the QR code and you can get access to my elite package, and there's only 10 slots available. It is Christmas, so it's very, very limited in terms of my capacity to be able to support everybody that I already have on board. So go check out my social media. You'll see the various things that I do already. But even more though, so if you were today to put down a deposit, or you were going to kickstart with Klarna. So Klarna is available for those people that want to pay in installments as well. You can get a further 10% off this price, off the $1,999. Okay, so that is available for anybody that wants me to handhold them through this process, because it's not easy. You're going to be getting my personal time, my support, right, to help you to get through this process of navigating Ghana's real estate market, connecting you to the right people, the professionals. It's a web. Ghana's a web. It works. And it's really, really worth it. Okay? That's why, guys, I say what I say. This is why I do the diaspora to home. It is worth it. I've shared my personal experience of the challenges I faced, but I've also shared the highs. It's amazing in terms of the figures. If you saw the numbers I showed you with cantonments, that is real numbers. That is what you can generate. And that is an opportunity for you to start to generate generational wealth. It's an opportunity for you to contribute to the development of our homeland, Ghana. We've just had a change of government. We're hoping, fingers crossed, that things are going to go well. We're hoping that the investment landscape is going to be a lot more favorable to us who are investing as well, right? But the best thing about this is that you can start to create consistent income from Ghana, even where you are not in Ghana. So you can earn monthly income from properties that are in these high demand areas, even if you are not there. So guys, let's please, all on today's call, be part of Ghana's growth story. I want you guys to right now in the chat window, wherever you are, diaspora to home. Please, if you're on the chat, if you're on YouTube, just write diaspora to home for me. Please, 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 please just do that. Diaspora to home, diaspora to home. I want you guys just to write that in the chat. If you all have access to the chat window, write diaspora to home, please, for me in the chat. I want to make sure that you guys are here. You can hear me, okay? Guys, just write diaspora to home in the chat wherever you are, to make sure that you are all here with me. Guys, you can please put it in the chat. Diaspora to home, diaspora to home, diaspora to home, right? Diaspora to home. Amazing. Is the chat working? Because it's coming through in my Q&A. but it's not coming through on the chat. Guys, can somebody just check that the chat is working for me? Just put a dot or something. Just put anything so I make sure the chat is working, because things are coming. It's not working. That's strange. Okay. The chat is not working. Webinar chat is not working. Oh, I know. Okay, it must be working now. Can somebody check? Just put a dot or diaspora to home. Thank you on YouTube. Put a diaspora to home. Please check if is the webinar chat working now? It should be working. Yeah, it's working. Sorry about that, guys. So anybody who's been trying to chat, I apologize. So guys, let's please be part of the Ghana's growth story and have our diaspora purchase a home and or go home. So guys, that is the end of today's webinar, and I really would love to answer any questions that anybody has, or give me some feedback. Let me know how you found today's session as well, and please do check out the elite package. As I said, we do have a very, very special offer on for everyone that attended today's webinar for 5 days only, and today you get 10% off. It's Christmas. I'm feeling generous. I've given you guys a lot of information today as well. I hope I've given you enough information. Did I give you guys enough information? Please let me know. Please give me some feedback. I hope I gave you enough information to water your appetite to what you can start to think about and do in Ghana when it comes to you thinking about investing in Ghana's real estate market. So guys, if you have any questions, please ask them on YouTube. I'll be checking YouTube if there's any questions there. If you're on, I was about to say Instagram. If you're on Zoom, then please do feel free to answer your question. Is there thank you, Dee, for your question. Is it standard to have a structural survey when purchasing a property? Really, really great question. I highly recommend getting a survey done, especially before you actually sign on the dotted line. It's highly important. And also I'm giving you guys too much information. I'm giving you way too much information. Yes, it is important for you to, there's a number of things that I would ask you to do subsequently, but yes, get a surveyor in, get a valuer in as well to actually assess the structure of the property. That is one mistake that I didn't do. That's one thing that I should have done. There's people like house inspectors that are available, that this is their job. They go in and they check a property, especially from a structural perspective, especially to make sure there's certain key factors they look into to make sure that the property is of standard for you to buy it, right? And then also worth the amount that you're going to pay for it as well. So please, 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 please do have a structural survey before you purchase your property. So yes. Any other questions? Please feel free to ask your questions. Once again, I'll go back to this slide here. So there are additional things that you need access to. Please feel free to join my community, the WhatsApp group there with experts in that group as well. The e-guide if you want to find out more about the diaspora mortgage, and also the property success toolkit if you're looking for a budget calculator to figure out how to build your finances, how around a property price, right? Then please do check out my budget calculator there as well. The QR code is there for you to scan. So guys, thank you so much for joining. If there's any questions, I'm here. And my social media is Lorraine H. Wright. Lorraine H. Wright. My website is diasporatohome.com. And guys, I hope to see at least 10 of you apply for my elite package, where I'll be hand holding you through the entire process from beginning to end to purchase your property. And we can do this within 3 months. Literally, you can have a property in Ghana within 3 months with my elite package. So guys, thank you so much for joining, and those of you that joined on YouTube as well, I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna do it the Gen Z, this is the millennial way, and then the Gen Z way. Guys, I'll crack myself up. But guys, thank you so much for joining, and see y'all in Ghana, in the UK, London. I'll be coming hopefully to the US to do a masterclass early next year as well. So you guys watch out for me there as well. But thank you guys for joining, and I will see you in my next masterclass. Bye.